Okay, now we could do it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Come on, girls. Wait.
I don't know what you're saying. Okay. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Wholehearted Living with Valerie.
And Benny.
Woo!
Woo! We did it.
We did it. And thank you for Iggy for keeping us in sound.
In sound, that's right.
In time?
In time. That's what I actually was going to say. I blew it. Oh my gosh.
Goodness. See?
Hello, Iggy. You could say hello.
Hello.
Nice. Great. Hey, this is the sibling podcast where we bring a subject to the other person that has usually to do with wholehearted living.
Yes.
And then one person is surprised by it and we just chat, and the other person obviously comes with something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you come with something?
I'm going to come with something.
This is yours.
I have something.
Okay. Is it good?
Well, I hope so. But after Patty saying, wait, I don't have a drink yet, I'm not sure if you guys will like this podcast topic.
Great. So that gives me a hint as
It
to what
does
it
give
is.
you a hint.
Yeah.
Do you like my Demi Moore voice?
Yeah, it's very nice.
I don't know why I keep losing it. Remember, like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I don't think we can do a podcast because I lost my voice completely.
That's right. Yeah.
Then 2 weeks was fine. I'm talking like no problem. And then over the weekend, it kind of went away again. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I
that's
feel
weird.
fine. It just kind of goes. But interestingly, 2 people at work had lost their voice. So it might be something in the air, but not necessarily sickness, because nobody ever felt sick. They just said my voice is going. So
I don't understand it. Maybe it's allergies. You think it could be allergies?
well, I don't usually suffer from allergies this time of year, thankfully. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it could be because allergies would mess up your throat. So I don't know.
I don't know, but I like it. I hope it stays forever.
Yeah. Phoebe. Phoebe, you could sing what's that
Smelly
song?
cat. No.
My stinky shoes.
My stinky shoes. Yeah. That's the way I sound all the time, though. But I mean,
So
not
what's
good.
going on? Tell me.
So what is going on? We have to think of, what's going on is this weekend the Chiefs are playing in town, and so we are going to the Chiefs game.
That's so fun.
It really is fun.
I mean, it's fun if you like the Chiefs.
Actually, I
and
think
football.
football is just fun in general. It's fun
It's
to
a
go.
really long game, though.
Yeah, it is. I'll be honest with you. I actually like watching it on TV more than in person.
I feel like I honestly feel like, because we're obviously Red Wing fans, and I
That's
feel
not
like
obvious. Why would
no,
that be
it's not. I
obvious?
guess I don't to you. It's obvious to
Or
you,
to
but
anybody
not to
listening.
anybody listening. But no, when we go see the game, it's fun and exciting. You got the crowd behind you, and there's a lot of Red Wing fans here in SoCal, so there is a lot of Red Wing fans in the stadium.
Arena.
Yeah. But honestly, when I watch it on TV, it's like you can rewind something. You can you're following the puck better. You're like, you have the announcers kind of talking to you through it all, and it's like
that's
on the
why I like
ice. If you're live, you're like, oh my God, wait, I want to see that again.
And the TV guy, I made a joke today to someone in Costco because we went to Costco, and I made this joke that I said, well, we're high enough that we have the duck when planes go by. So the thing is that we, so when we're looking at the game, what's interesting is when you're on TV, when you're watching it on TV, they can really highlight the things and show it, and I could really see what's going on. But even me, who really understands football, I'm there watching it, and sometimes I'm like, where are they? What's going on? I mean, I don't lose the ball, but I don't necessarily all the nuance,
especially if you're high up,
all the nuance,
yeah.
But I do love the experience, though. So there's something about the noise. There's something about the just cheering, and then that's
high
the thing.
fiving each other.
So and then you see where the Chargers are here, and they don't have a ton of fans, and
They
so,
don't?
No.
Why?
Well, I don't know. That's an existential
I feel
question.
like, no, because I just feel like when I worked at my other school, I felt like there was a handful. Wait, San Diego Chargers, right?
Yeah, but no, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh, wait, what?
They moved here.
Oh, and they don't have a ton of fans. Well, because they're probably mad because they wanted them to stay in San Diego.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like,
the
never
other
mind.
thing is that they've been bad for a very long time, so they haven't been very good. And so when there's Chiefs games, I would say, what do you think, Iggy? Half of the people or more are Chiefs fans. It's red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their home games are the games that they play here in LA is like a home game for the visiting team.
Yeah. I mean, almost for every team that they play.
Yeah.
The Rams have a better showing than the Chargers for sure. Before SoFi was finished, but San Diego had moved up here, and so they're playing at the soccer stadium. And
Did you hear what you said? You said move up here.
I said moved up here.
No.
Oh, you're right. I did say that.
You're supposed to say moved up, and you said move up.
Move it up. Did I say that?
Yes. Rewind and show everybody.
So I was, but we went. Dad took me to a game, and you know what Dad said?
What?
He goes, "Oh, you're not going to wear the Chiefs stuff, are you?" And I go, "Yes, of course I'm wearing the Chiefs stuff." And he goes, "What if some people get mad?" It's like, Dad, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna wear Chiefs stuff. And Dad goes, well, I'm wearing LA stuff, and he wore a Dodgers hat.
Oh, a Dodger.
So we go to the game. Way more Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were safer as Chiefs fan than we would have been a Chargers fan. And then you might not know this because you don't do football, but in football, you scream when the other team, like the home team, screams when the other team has the ball. So when the other team has the ball,
like, hey, better, hey,
no,
better,
it's like you scream because you don't want them to be able to communicate to each other. That's baseball.
Oh, I know. Like I just thought maybe a distraction or something.
It is. It's meant to distract them. It's meant to be really loud, and it's meant to make it so they can't communicate with each other when they're on offense. Because on defense, the defense just has to respond whatever the offense does. They don't have to talk as much. But anyway, when we were at the game, it was louder when the Chargers had the ball than when the Chiefs. So it's like it's pretty common. Now since they moved to SoFi and since they got this guy called Herbert, quarterback, they've been a little better, and so they get a little better showing. But and now they got a new coach who's a known coach, and so it could be that. But anyway. I love it. It's fun. It's just a fun experience, fun time. But like I said, I'm not sure it's like from a game standpoint. I come home and actually watch the game again sometimes.
We like to watch the highlights.
I
and
miss
stuff.
some of the nuance.
Yeah. It's funny too because even with like the Red Wings, if they're playing the Kings have a huge following. So it's usually like probably more Kings fans in the stadium than Red Wings. But when we go to the Ducks game, it's usually a lot of red compared to like the Ducks.
Yeah, but aren't the Ducks red?
No.
What color?
Don't be so silly. They were teal and
oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm thinking of?
What?
I'm thinking of the Angels.
Oh.
I don't know why.
That was a different sport too.
No, that is a different sport. But I was thinking of Anaheim, and I was thinking of Angels, and I kind of messed that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. But anyway, so we're all going there, and so that's gonna be fun. We took Mom to a game one time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do know.
Just walking, and they have this huge, what's it called? When the food thing?
Tailgate.
Huge tailgate.
That's fun.
These people put it on. I'm talking about like hundreds of people eat at this thing, all free. They
really?
They take donations.
Oh, wow.
It's for
That's
Chiefs
so
fan.
cool.
And so my reasoning, and a lot of people don't know this, and it's very important for our listeners. The reason why I'm a Chiefs fan is because at 17 years old, we had the Raiders and the Rams the first time they came. And I didn't consider them, I honestly didn't consider them LA teams. And at the time, the Houston Oilers had moved to Tennessee and they became the Tennessee Titans. And I thought, if they're going to move a team here, they should name them, like they should rebrand them so that they're LA, so that they're truly LA. And I thought if they make a really truly LA team, I might consider being that fan, but they didn't. They just brought the Raiders and the Rams, and some people say the Rams started here, but I'm not going to go there. Anyway, I just was like, I don't want that. And so I was going to go to APU, as a specific university, and so there was a guy named Christian Okoye who was on the Chiefs, and he's the only football player. Now there's a head coach from the APU. But anyway, I decided, okay, I'm going to be a fan of the Nigerian Nightmare. That's what he was called at Kansas City. And so I started following the Chiefs after that. Then I meet Patty, and she's from Kansas City.
Right.
Didn't care about the Chiefs at all.
Right.
She hardly even knew who they were. And then we moved there. And then it was so fun to be a Chiefs fan in Kansas City. And then we moved back, and I would be cheering like LAFC, which is our soccer team, or the Angels or the Dodgers. And people are like, I thought you would be a Royals fan. I'm like,
Yeah,
nope,
yeah,
nope.
yeah.
It's like I was a Chiefs
Yeah.
fan before I moved.
Right.
So, but anyway, I know that was very exciting for you.
That's very exciting.
I'm
I was
glad
so
you can
excited
go
to
home
know
and
that. You've already
journal
told
it.
that story, but
Not here. Did I tell it here?
yeah, I don't remember why.
I told it here?
I'm pretty sure.
This is our 64th episode. I don't remember what's what hasn't.
Well, do you guys remember? I don't remember what episode it is, but in the beginning of the year, I had a goal, and my one of my goals was to do a strict pull up.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna get a strict pull up before the end of the year. So 9 months later, I finally got 2 strict pull ups.
Did you really?
Yeah. I'm very happy with myself. I probably could have got him a couple months ago, but I wasn't practicing like the way I should have been. I should have been on that bar every single day. And I was like, every once a week I would go, okay, let's do this. I finally bought the really thin bands so that I could just like progress. Like it was a
right.
little thicker. And then I gave up on that and just thought, I'm just going to keep doing upper body strength, build whatever. And then I finally got on the bar, either was it yesterday or today? And, I did 2 strict pull-ups.
Nice. You know what? I saw this on Instagram one time. It's probably got to be a month ago or so. But this woman was teaching how to do pull-ups. And to be honest with you, I had never had anybody teach this. And it was, I think I saved it. But it was fascinating because I really thought, a pull-up is a pull-up, right? But she talked about how your shoulders should be and how you should, all these different things. I knew about your feet you should be a little bit in a what's that called?
Yeah.
Like where you're a little C, where you're
Yeah.
So you should be a little like that. I kind of knew that, but anyway, she talked about how all these different things. I thought, oh my gosh, I should try that. Never did. But,
I'm curious if you did save it to send it to me because I'm curious to see if any of the tips that she gives would help me.
Yeah, I should find it. I will. I'll look at it. I'll look for it. So
Yeah.
you might have to remind me, but I usually try to save things like that because I find them. I do find it interesting. In CrossFit they do butterfly, pull-ups, and for one, I can't do it because where I am downstairs. If I did that, I'd be hitting my head on the ceiling as well as
Yeah, and at UFC we don't have that option because of where the bars are. They're up against. They're
too close to
on
the wall, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what happens. And then
Yeah.
mine is too close to
Yeah.
the wall to do it too.
And I honestly, because of frozen shoulder, I could never get back into the full rhythm of it because of the one. And then, a few years back, I had frozen shoulder in the other arm, and it's still not completely defrosted. I don't know if but it still doesn't have 100% full range of motion.
Yeah.
So even to swing, like a couple times I was just trying to swing,
It
and
hurts.
yeah, and not necessarily hurts, but it's
Not
it just
comfortable.
stops.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the thing for me is that I really try to the big thing for me about butterfly is that it's really not activating the same muscles. I'm not saying it's bad for you per se.
No,
it
of
could
course.
be,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you do it wrong, it could be it could really mess up your shoulder. But it's not like working the muscles like a strict pull.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because and I never did butterfly, to clarify. I did the kipping, and the kipping, I probably could still do it if I had the full range of motion.
Oh, right.
But doing a strict is just like pulling your body up, you know.
But
and
it was
that's-
fun to do butterfly because you
Yeah.
can crank out 10 in just
Yeah.
a few seconds.
Yeah.
And now it's like I can't do
Right.
that. But
I remember watching a competition one time. I think it was a handful of the TSAC people that were in it. And I remember it was so funny because for whatever reason, they told them they could not do butterfly or kipping. It was
my gosh.
Yeah. Or wait, was it the other way? No, I'm so sorry. They told them they couldn't do butterfly. It had to be kipping only or like strict or whatever. But everyone that
No
was
one
in
knew how
that,
to do it.
they were they knew the rhythm of butterfly. So they had to like jump off every time. Like they did
Oh, no
one
way.
and then they would jump off and then they
So
would
it
do
took
another
forever.
because they were just like, why can't we butterfly? And they're like, no butterfly. But since their body was so used to doing
Yeah.
that movement, it was very hard to get into
it took me forever to learn butterfly. And then once I did, it's very hard to stop because it's just like anything.
Yeah, that's
So,
exactly how it was for them.
Yeah. So, All right. Make us
ready?
feel bad.
I know, huh? Well,
No, I
you
don't
know,
care.
there's like a few reasons that I wanted to bring this topic up, because I always like try to think about what's going on in life and what I want to bring to the table that will keep us in a wholehearted living mindset, and what might not.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about alcohol. No, what the reason, excuse me.
Okay.
The reason I want to bring it up is because there's always like the time, and I know that I've said it before, I'm not immune to that. Like, oh my God, I need a drink. Oh my gosh, it was a day. I'm going to go home and have a drink or whatever, like we all maybe have said that at one point. And how do you feel about drinking to mask a feeling, so to speak? Like, what do you ever think about, like, okay, so I'm going to fast forward real quick and then I'll get back to your answer. The reason I bring that up is because the last resort for me would be to have a drink if I'm dealing with an issue, or I have a problem, or I've had a bad day, or what have you. I don't want to have a drink to mask whatever it is that I'm trying to deal with head on. And because I know that there's, in the last couple of years, they're like, oh my gosh, you need a drink. I'm like, no, this is when I don't need a drink. I want to feel this. I want to feel all the feels. I want to be able to, tackle this head on, if you will, without any of masking, if that makes sense.
Well, it totally makes sense. I think that. So, what's your question to me?
I mean,
Sorry.
do you feel like you're that type of person to go, you know what? I had a bad day. I need to have a drink to get over that. Or, there's a major issue in my life right now. Give me a drink. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Well, at least I don't feel like that. I like to drink because I just like whiskey. So, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but actually, I think I'm a little bit like you in that if I'm doing it because I'm avoiding something, or because I want to, you know what? It's so honestly, drinking is not my thing. So for me, the refrigerator is way more what I would do to mask something. So I go to food.
Yeah,
or
because
something like
people
that.
would go to food.
Yeah.
Sure.
So drinking wouldn't be the thing that I would use to mask. Drinking would be something I just do to enjoy, and so I get what you're saying. I actually have I don't know where you're going with this topic, but I would say I'm not cool with any kind of masking.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's important that we feel what's
All the
going and
feels.
deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even, from a therapeutic standpoint, it's like, yes, we want to deal with the feelings. Some people are living in certain kind of chronic conditions, and so you're trying to get them out of the feelings, but not in the sense of I don't want you to feel anymore, but we want you to learn how to cope with this thing so that you can move forward, rather than just live in this bad place, right? But chemically trying to change that.
That's the key word, is chemically, because it does do something to your brain. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because I've done a lot of thinking over the last 6 months ish, because I have not drank a lot. Like I think the last time I had a drink is I shared a Cutwater with Patty a few weeks ago for your birthday. And that was, because I don't like how I feel in the morning, even if it's just one drink, I just don't like how I feel. So I started doing a little bit of research on it, because I'm like, am I going to go sober, or am I going to have that a drink once every few weeks? Because I feel like just having fun or letting, whatever. Because I'll tell you what, the last few times that I've gone out, we've gone to like birthday parties, we've gone to a get together, we went to a concert. I haven't had any alcohol, and I've had the time of my life. And I bet you people looked at me and like, what is she drinking? And the next day I wake up feeling so good. So, and this isn't to shame anybody for drinking. I'm honestly not doing that right now. I'm talking about masking a feeling, trying to escape it. I have these lists right here, like escaping it, giving it a relief. It's, some people say it unwinds them, it relaxes them, it boosts their confidence. Like if you're at a party and you're not like you're socially awkward and you have a drink, now you become a little more, your inhibitions lower, and yeah,
that's right.
And you become more talkative, and A lot of people use it for trauma, like, you know, they're just trying to escape that trauma.
For
and
sure.
So I did a little bit of research. I listened to this podcast probably about 3 months ago, which I will link if Iggy can remind me to link it in the show notes, because it was fascinating. It was fascinating of the science behind drinking and what it does to your brain. That's the hobby. Anyway, so alcohol is a depressant that affects your central nervous system. So that it's a depressant.
Right.
So now you take the person who's on antidepressants and it null and voids that.
Right.
So now that person that is on an antidepressant because they're in a depressive state, if you will, now they're living with the effects of alcohol, which is a toxin, and it's suppressed the antidepressant, if that makes sense. Did I say that? Do you need me to repeat that?
No, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying, actually, because I studied it, but I studied it from the other side, from the antidepressant side.
Okay. So if you're somebody that is on an antidepressant and you're like, okay, well, I need this, and that's getting you through, and that's, you know, what you need to function, great. Now you add alcohol. Now it's null and voiding that antidepressant, and now the alcohol is a toxin in there that is affecting it's a chemical in your brain that is affecting the way you think, the way you act, the way you react, the way you know what I mean?
So, yes. So I get what you're saying, because the chemical thing that, yeah, I'm not going to go into all the details unless you are dying to hear it. But yeah,
no, I don't need the details unless you really want to go them. But you know, there were some questions that said, does alcohol make my anxiety worse? And then again, alcohol causes a chemical change in your brain that could lead to negative feelings like anxiety and depression. So those are things that maybe you want to get rid of. You don't want to live in a state of anxiety or depression.
right.
And then this will magnify that, though. And
Right.
so, you know, again, this isn't to shame people for drinking alcohol at all, because my whole reason for all of this, thinking this, is for health reasons. Because as we age, we know I want to make sure my brain is functioning forever. We have Alzheimer's in our genetic disposition, if you will, but we also have alcoholism in our.
I said I will, because you said if you will.
If you will you?
I will.
But we also, hi. I saw him walk in and I didn't even realize that was him. That's so funny.
Yeah, the gardener came in.
I'm so sorry.
My son-in-law.
Yeah, I
walked
didn't
in.
realize.
So funny.
But anyway, so I think for me, I think alcohol is fun, and I think it can be if you're using it. You know, the podcast I was listening to was very interesting because they were talking about the person that drank, you know, more than so many glasses a day. Even if the person drinks, you know, 4 to 5 glasses a day of something, and then another person drinks 1 to 2, it still affects the brain the same way. Maybe it'll accelerate with the more chronic drinker, but it will still affect your brain the same way if you're just having a glass of wine or 2 a night versus 4 or 5. And so I don't know. I think it's a very fascinating podcast, whether you want to listen to it or not, but I will link that, and it's just very interesting.
I think of the thing for wholehearted living, like for us, because for me, the biggest issue that you're addressing is escaping your feelings or going to anything. See, for me, it's not just for you right now. You're going into the alcohol in terms of, okay, what does the alcohol actually do to you, and how can it affect you? And for me, what I'm thinking about is, to me, the alcohol is a problem when we're using it like in the manner that you just said.
Well, yeah, like self-medicating.
When you're self-medicating, or when you're avoiding something, when you're like you just said. I think a big one is escaping, and then it becomes just, you know, habit or whatever it is. That's where I think where people could potentially have problems. I don't know anything about the science that you're mentioning there, and I don't know where it comes from. What I can tell you is that you're absolutely right about how it affects. So if you're on antidepressants and then you're still drinking, you might as well not take the antidepressant,
Right.
because it does null it. Well, I don't know if it really doesn't necessarily totally null and void it, but it definitely affects it. Now, for
Yeah.
me, I used to think
Well, I think any medication, to be honest, with alcohol is a danger. It's a disaster.
this is what I was just going to say, though. This is what's so interesting. See, I used to think that alcohol, the reason why they didn't want you to take alcohol with your antidepressant is I used to think it would do something. It's kind of like they say, don't operate machinery. You know what I mean? So that's what I thought. I thought
it would just give you you would get drunk on, and
it could make it worse. I didn't understand why they said that, and then when I started studying not alcohol, but when I started studying antidepressants because of what we do in school. 90% of, a ton of antidepressants work, what they're called SSRIs.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they prevent the dopamine from returning to the original cell, and they let them sit inside this area so that hopefully they get received by the other cell. It stops the anxiety, or it helps with the anxiety.
Well, it helps with
the
serotonin
depression
too.
and serotonin.
Right.
And because it prevents those things from returning to the original synaptic nerve.
Yeah.
And so what happens with alcohol is alcohol stays in that little area and kills those things. And so all of a sudden they don't move.
Well, and to take it a step further, it affects the gut, because it kills off the good bacteria in your gut. And so that can lead to leaky gut and all that stuff. So, it is, again, I'm not going to shame anybody for drinking alcohol. What I'm saying is it's not a healthy thing to do. I will say that, but it's definitely not good for self-medicating, or, like you just said, avoidance or escaping or what have you. And, but like you just said, even with the medications, it's like, why do they say don't drink this with alcohol? It's not necessarily because it's going to make you
tipsy.
Right. It's not going to be, it's not going to be magnifying it.
I think it does have to do that.
But I'm just saying medication in general, it usually will state at the bottom, do not take this with medication. And it's not because it's going to all of a sudden magnify your drunkenness or whatever. It's going to inhibit the work
whatever
of
the work it
medication
was doing.
is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, the thing is that especially if you're taking something, then whatever you're drinking, it potentially could be an issue. Now, I will say, I really don't know I've never studied alcohol like the way you're talking about it, but I would just say there are people who are moderate drinkers and don't have issues. They don't have health issues, and you eat and you do everything like crazy healthy. Would you?
Oh yeah, I agree.
You're like, because I don't like, I eat chips.
Right.
So I eat flour tortillas. So those kind of things. So, I mean, so I could see why this would be something that you would go, oh my gosh, this is a significant issue. But I would say from a wholehearted living standpoint, if you're out there and you're going home, and I totally agree with you, the idea of going home and saying, I need a drink.
Right.
You shouldn't need anything.
Right.
We shouldn't need that. There should be a different way to deal with whatever it is that's requiring you to say, I need a drink.
Right.
And then likewise, I think if all of a sudden you're dependent on a drink and it's like, oh, I can't, what would be the right word? I can't sleep. I can't go to work. I can't, hang with my kids.
And that's the other thing. The next thing it affects. Yeah. And that could very well happen. But again, this isn't a podcast about that. And I know I did direct it in the health way, because that really is something that I love to chat about health, but this is really more about living a wholehearted life, and living wholeheartedly, I believe, would mean that you don't want to mask something or just put a Bandaid on it for the time being. We need to confront it, but some ways, and I know we've talked about this with other things, like I don't want to just like throw this all out there and then just like, okay, so don't drink if you have a bad day.
Yeah.
But great. These are things to do, that how you can cope with certain things without alcohol is obviously exercise. Yeah. Exercise is a proven effective tool for stress relief. So, there's other ways that you can do it.
Wait. But we have to define exercise, by the way, folks. That's a 10-minute walk around the block.
Exactly. This isn't go to the gym and work out for an hour and a half, right. Pushing weight. We're talking take a bike ride, go for a walk. These are other things that aren't exercise you can meet a friend for lunch. You can read a book, play a game, try a non-alcoholic drink. I don't know if that would even, if you're going to drink, would you want to be having non-alcohol?
Well,
I don't
for
know.
some
Peter
people-
does non-alcoholic
but some
beer because he
people- but
likes the
see,
flavor.
Like for me, I
Yeah.
really like, I like an old fashioned. It's not even about necessarily what I feel. I just genuinely like it.
That's
So,
Peter with beer.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if I could genuinely taste something that was exactly the same, I really
and not
don't care
yeah.
about.
He's
it's-
actually made a non-alcoholic old fashioned before, and I smell it. And I'm like, oh my god, it smells like the real thing. It's
Okay.
I don't know if it's. What did he say?
He goes, yes, it does smell like an old fashioned. It does not taste like one. So- anyway, but the thing is that the thing about what you're saying though is that I think I love the idea of doing something, like being proactive with something. Can I tell you one that I think is important? It's so funny. I just did this with a life coaching client. We talked about this, but he was discussing.
See, that's a good thing. You can tell me that, but that would you tell a coach, a client, like, oh, you know what? You need to just go have yourself a drink,
Yeah, never.
right?
Never.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's my point.
No, exactly. You would never say that. On the other hand, I wouldn't say to somebody, "Hey, I'm going to celebrate a birthday," and I wouldn't say, "Well, don't drink."
No, right.
I wouldn't do
Sure,
that.
sure.
But I would. But what I do say is like what this particular person was dealing with an issue of wondering if he has ADD. And what was fascinating about it was we got into the discussion. I said, and he was trying to figure out, what do I do? I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm not an ADD specialist, but what I'm going to tell you is, the long story short is we got into meditation too. And I just said, meditation is something that could be really helpful to slow your brain down. And I said, you have to start it the same way. You just have to start it really slow. A lot of people try to say, okay, I'm going to meditate for a half hour. Well, you're going to fail. If you've never done it before,
Oh God,
you're
it's like
absolutely going to fail. It's like do it for 5 minutes.
It's like doing yoga. Like, okay, 5 minutes. Of
Yeah,
yoga.
do it
I'm
for
like,
5 minutes for a week, and then after a week, then
Yeah.
decide, okay, I'm going to do it again. And then I like this particular Catholic prayer, centering prayer, where you just repeat a single word, and the idea of the word is, in my case, would be representing God. Whatever you believe is like the word that represents God. So some people might say love. Some people literally might say God. Some people might say Jesus. Some people might say, I mean, I've even heard of people saying blood because they're referring to the blood of Jesus. But whatever it is that represents to you, God, but you just repeat that word, and then you're inevitably going to get distracted if it's your first time, but you don't get mad at yourself.
Yeah.
You just go, oh, I'm going to return to my
Yeah.
word. And what happens is it slows your brain down. It does a
Right.
bunch of stuff to do.
Well,
what you
yeah,
were
I
talking
had
about.
brain. I had brain. I have brain. I had breathe.
I had a
and,
brain.
I had breathe and meditate.
Yeah.
As something that you can, I don't know. This isn't to say that I'm not going to say that I'm never going to not have a drink again. I just feel good not drinking, and I definitely don't choose a drink when there's something that I need to really feel. You
Yeah.
know. When we were going through the whole house process of losing our home, and there was just like many times that it was like I feel like I want to have a drink and like not think about this, and then I was like, no, this is the last time or the last thing I should do to not feel this.
Because for me, I'm going to tell you, I don't even recognize that I'm doing it. It's funny because I don't think I ever intentionally think this is what I need to do, because I do think a lot. So I just end up thinking about it. But what I do unintentionally for sure is find myself eating crap. I can find myself just eating too much and just going to the fridge and doing something. And then I'm like, yeah, it's just not a good thing. So,
Well, and the thing about that though, I mean, it's, I'm not saying food, especially if you're eating crap food, I'm not saying that that's not bad, but at the same time, the alcohol does change.
Right.
You know
see
what I mean?
you're saying.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about the wholehearted living standpoint of
Just turning to
thinking
something.
the
Yeah.
refrigerator is going to save me.
Right.
When in fact, it's like what you said earlier, relationships, different, those kind of things are what really save you. And so I try to literally go to the phone. And what I mean by that is text a friend or if I can call them and literally say something about whatever's in my head. Because
Yeah.
often just getting it out of my head to somebody I trust.
That was the
will
other
help
thing
me.
I wrote was to journal. Because, a lot
journal.
of times you just put your thoughts down, and then sometimes when you just get it out, you just put it down, texting or journaling, whatever. it just kind of,
Yeah. And I think a big deal about, I'm going to say another thing about journaling then, because a lot of people get freaked out about journaling and say, well, I don't like to write. And what they're anticipating is somebody one day is going to read it. And I even say, just put it on a piece of paper and then throw it away.
Yeah.
But the idea is get it out of your head, because sometimes it's playing a game in our head that really screws us up. And putting it on paper, we go, oh, that's not really what I'm not as overwhelmed as I thought, or I'm not as angry. It's not as bad. So whatever.
No, I don't know. That was probably a weird topic, but it was just something that was on my mind because I don't know. I feel like that there's just so many people that are just like, oh, I need to go home and have, and then the next day you talk to them and they're like, yeah, I drank a whole bottle, and it's like, okay, well, did it help the situation? And like, no, that situation's still there, but I was able to,
Yeah, but I didn't feel it for a night.
Right.
And now I'm just going to feel it again tonight.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to sweep it under the rug and it's not dealt with. And I'm just hoping that. Well,
and that's why when I did start digging about this whole situation, and I read like so many people that want to mask the feeling of feeling stressed or anxiety or depression or whatever, and then whatever the chemical and alcohol does to your brain, it's like, okay, you're just making it worse, to be honest, and so,
well, especially if you're medicated thinking that's going to work. But
right.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's been, thank you. I agree with you, especially about the whole thing. I don't understand all the chemical stuff I do understand it only when it comes to the medication. Whatever is going on with alcohol, I could see how it could be hurtful or it could damage somebody. But I think the biggest thing is our vices really can be a problem, and drinking, and sometimes we think of it as, well, I'm not an alcoholic, and that's not the point,
right?
The measure of whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing shouldn't be based on whether or not I'm an alcoholic. It should be based on whether or not this is being helpful to my life and living wholeheartedly.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you.
There you go.
Happy.
Now let's go have a drink.
Yep. Patty, where is it? All right, folks. Thank you for listening. We're at Wholehearted Living Podcast. Oh, crap.
Wholehearted_living_podcast.
That's it. On Instagram. So we'd love for you to follow us. And do we say anything else? Iggy. Hi. Thank you.
Hello.
For keeping us in sound. Iggy, do you drink a lot?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Only in Big Bear.
Yeah. He actually doesn't drink very much. We even offer him a drink here.
Yeah.
I know. Every time I've been here.
I
Actually,
went through
time.
A phase of when I was drinking, like
too much.
out with friends.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, no.
Well, you know what? And it's funny. I know we're closing the show, but you know what? There was a time that it was a mask for me, 100%. I never, and this is one thing I don't do now. I don't drink at home. I'm not that like, oh, let's have a drink. It's a social thing. But when I was in my ex-marriage, it was, I was doing White Russians every single night in my little tiny house by myself. And so that was not good.
Yeah. I will say I never drink alone. So I'll always turn on the TV if I'm drinking.
Or you can text people. And then
I'll text people. Hey, I'm drinking. What are you having? I'm kidding. My gosh, we just derailed that.
Thanks for being here, you guys.
Thank you.
We'll chat with you next week. Bye.
Ciao.